Let me go straight across now to Abhishek Singhvi, who was representing the Congress just a short while ago. Abhishek Singhvi, thank you very much indeed for joining us. Thanks for your patience. Before we come to the legalities of it, Abhishek Singhvi, if I can just begin by asking you that were you at all surprised when in court you found yourself up against Harish Salve and Mukul Rohtagi? Did that come as a surprise?
On the contrary, I would be surprised if it were not so. We are all colleagues at the bar. Every day we appear for the same side or against each other, almost more than once a day. And in matters like this, I would have been surprised if it were otherwise. So there's nothing to do with this. It's a commonplace for many of these matters.
The assumption here, Abhishek Singhvi, is that, or the allegation here, is that these are very high-powered lawyers who are very close to the present regime. And the fact that they are representing Sachin Pilot and the rebels is being seen as further evidence that there is a proxy BJP backing of this whole business, this entire Sachin revolt.
You know, Hassan, as a lawyer and a professional, I can tell you that we have not yet included the fact that lawyers with a particular political leaning will also constitute defection under the 10th schedule. And I'd like to keep it that way, because I think lawyers ultimately do their job, do their duty. But there is plenty of other evidence, I think, before the Speaker to suggest that the first part of the 10th schedule, which is voluntarily giving up their membership, has occurred. And I think for considering that in a show cause stage, at the moment he has made no decision, he has taken no view, but for issuing a notice and considering it, I think he doesn't need to go and include lawyers appearing as a reason. But the Speaker is a constitutional authority. He is the sole person tasked under the 10th schedule to decide it. I am the Speaker as far as lawyering for him is concerned. And I think he is obliged to take a sober, reasoned, balanced, legal decision. At the moment, he has done nothing. He has only issued a show cause.
Okay, I want to come to the legality of it in just a second. Let's just try to play for you another important player in all this, which is the Bharatiya Tribal Party. This is a small party. Their MLAs, not clear who they were backing all this while, but one of them told me that they are on their way to meet Mr. Gehlot. They're going tonight, they're going to meet him tomorrow morning. And that is likely to be good news, at least from Mr. Gehlot's perspective. Let's listen to an interview with the leader, the head of the BTP party, what they told us. We recorded this a short while ago.
आपने इन लोगों ने स्पष्ट कह दिया है कि अभी भी व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप में ये बताया जा रहा है कि हम गहलोत के साथ हैं। कई लोग कहते हैं कि मान्य सर है वो जयपुर चले गए हैं। इस प्रकार की बातें सामने तो आ ही रही है और समाचार पत्रों में भी, और इन लोगों ने फोन पर भी स्पष्ट रूप से बता दिया है कि हम कांग्रेस के साथ, इस प्रकार उन लोगों ने बता दिया है। अभी तो बराबर पार्टी की स्पष्ट बातें जब सामने आ जाएगी तब पार्टी हरकत में आएगी और उनके बारे में सोचेगी कि क्या करना है, क्या नहीं करना है, क्या कार्रवाई की जाए, या पार्टी के साथ है या नहीं है। ये जब स्पष्ट बातें हो जाएगी तब स्पष्ट रूप से हम खुलकर बातें करेंगे।
So the BTP leader there indicating that they are still inclined to the Congress, but still waiting to make up their minds, always keeping that additional card free. Let me go back to Abhishek Singhvi. Abhishek Singhvi, is it true that Sachin Pilot also reached out to you for legal advice as someone who's a comrade of yours in the party?
Can you hear me, please?
Yes, I can hear you. We can hear you.
I think it would not be fair to distort that. He's a dear friend. I still think he's one of our most valued colleagues in the Congress. I think quite innocently he had telephoned me 2 days ago seeking advice, and I jocularly told him that the honorable thing was to tell him that I could not talk to him because I'm advising the other side. And we both had a good laugh, and that was the end of it. So it was in that spirit that he called me. After all, we've known each other for a long time, and he wanted my advice, which he said he valued. But it was not to. I was advising the speaker, and a dispensation with which his views did not match.
Okay, fair enough. To the more substantial question of what is in court now. Now, essentially, from what I understand, the allegation is, the Speaker has found, Congress allegation which the Speaker has endorsed, that you essentially served notice to Sachin Pilot and his MLAs, asking them to turn up at these CLP meetings of the Congress Legislative Party on 2 occasions. And the notice mentioned that failure to do so means that you are acting against the interests of the party. You are separating yourself from the party. And that since they didn't, they are liable for disqualification. What the petition of the other side argues is that simply not turning up for a CLP meeting doesn't necessarily mean that you're anti-party and that you can be disqualified.
Can I answer, please?
Yes.
Lots of misconceptions floating around, and we are not here today to get verdicts by judges or courts. I can only summarize what are the principles on our side, because ultimately the matter is sub judice, and I'm not here to prejudge or second guess the matter. The judges will do it and the Speaker will do it ultimately. The point number 1, which is a misconception, is that the 10th schedule allows you to take action for disqualification only regarding what you have behaved in the House, voted this way or that way, whipped this way or that way. Now, that is a misconception which has been cleared by many, many judgments in the Supreme Court. That outside House activities, and I'm not at all opining about Mr. Pilot at all, that will be decided by a proper hearing and an order. But as a matter of law, non-intra-House activities can as well constitute. And specifically, cases have held that non-attendance at party meetings can be. There is no necessarily about it. There is no one single straw which decides, but it can be a circumstance. Number 2, the issue would be whether a speaker who is merely at the stage of a show cause and has yet to make up his mind and will decide on the merits, and natural justice he must comply with, which he has, and given time, whether he can be interrupted by a court, by interim relief, etc. There again, according to us, and ultimately we are not the final people, the judges will decide. I'm only giving you a summary of my arguments. There again, according to us, the courts cannot, do not, and are prohibited by several judgments from interfering in the process prior to a speaker's decision. They cannot thwart, abort, or obstruct a process of decision making by the speaker.
Okay, but on the substantial point, if I may, on the substantial point, you would still argue that by these MLAs not turning up for these meetings, that itself is grounds for disqualification. Doesn't that seem a bit excessive?
I would argue nothing. I'm the Speaker's counsel. The people who have complained may argue as the complaint states, and the Speaker will hear the other side and take a decision. I'm only answering a legal question. It is entirely possible for, in a hypothetical case, not this case, for a person to be disqualified for dealing with other party people, for not attending your own party meetings, etc. I'm answering a question of law as a matter of possibility. Whether the people here are liable or not is something to be decided.
Okay, that's something, as you say, has to be decided. We'll have to wait and see how that goes, but certainly it's going to be the battle of the legal heavyweights now in Rajasthan. Thank you very much indeed, Abhishek Singhvi, for joining us on the show tonight. Thanks very much.